In this chapter, we studied Unit 5 Statistics. Here, first example is following are the marks obtained by two students X and Y. So there are two columns. Three, four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There is marks obtained by X and this is marks obtained by Y. So marks obtained is 44, 80, 76, 48, 48, 52, 72, 68, 56, 60 and 64. And marks obtained by Y is 48, 75, 54, 60, 63, 69, 72, 51, 57, 58. Then question is which of the two students is more consistent? So first upon find out for student X. For X students, draw this chart. There are only 3 columns. So in first column marks xi, then find out di is equal to xi minus x bar, then di square. Then marks xi for marks obtained by x is 44, 80, 76, 48, 52, 72, 68, 56, 60 and 64. Then now mean x bar is equal to summation of xi upon n. Here summation of xi, all this summation is 620, and 620 upon n is total number is 1 2 3 4 5 10 is equal to 0 0 cancel 62. So mean x bar is equal to 62. Then find out xi minus x bar means 44 minus 44. So minus 18. Then 80 minus 62 is plus 18. Then 76 minus 62 is 40. Then 48 minus 62 is minus 40. 52 minus 62 is minus 10. Then find all the value. Then find di square. 18 square is 324. Square 324. 14 square is 196. 10 square is 100. 6 square 36. 2 square 4. 2 square 4. Then find out all this summation is 1320. Then first upon this for student 6, find out coefficient of variance, hence mean x bar is equal to summation of xi upon n is 620 upon 10 is 62. Then find out standard deviation sigma x is equal to root summation of di square upon n is the root summation of di square is 1320 and n is the total number is 10. Root 132 is equal to 12 square. 12 square is 144. So 11 point something, 11.49 is sigma x. Then find out coefficient of variance by the formula is equal to standard deviation sigma x upon mean into 100. So sigma x is 11.49 upon x bar is the 62 into 100 is equal to this into 100 is 1149 and this dividation is equal to 18.53% and this is coefficient of variance. For students x. Then similarly we find out coefficient for y. For student y, draw this table. There are 3 columns. Here marks is yi, marks of students y. Then di is equal to yi minus y bar. Then di square. Then y is this marks 48. Marks of students y 54, 60, 63, 69, 72, 51, 57, 56. Then di is equal to y minus y bar. So first upon find out y bar, mean summation of yi is equal to 605. N is the total number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 is equal to 60.5 because 1 point here 16.5. Then find out y minus y minus 48 is minus 12.5. Then 75 minus this is 14.5. 54 minus this is minus 60. Then 60 minus is minus 0.5. 63 minus this is 2.5. 69 minus 16.5 is 8.5. 72 minus 16.5 is 11.5. Then minus 9.5. 56 minus this is minus 4.5. Then find out di square. .5 square is into 12.5 5 6 then 10 then 4 5 2 0 0 125. So 1 2 1 and 2 point. So 1 2 156. Here is the point 156.25. Then find all this di square, means 14.5 square is 210.25, 42.25, 0.25, 25 square is 6.25, 85, 72.25. Into 25.25. And summation of di square is equal to 742.5. And first upon write down the mean. Hence mean y bar is equal to summation of yi upon n in 605 upon 10 is equal to 16.5, and then find out first upon standard deviation sigma y is equal to root summation of di square upon n is equal to root summation of di square is 2.5 upon 10 is equal to 10 means 1 point party na, so 74.25, and it is the square root of 8 square is equal to 64, so 8 point something, so 8.62. Then find out coefficient of variance by the formula standard deviation upon mean into 100. So sigma y is 8.62 upon y bar means the means is 16.5 into 100. So 8.62 into 100 is 862 upon 16.5, and which is equal to 14.25%. So how to find out which of the following two students is more consistent? More consistent कोणता आहे हे फाइंड आउट करण्यासाठी फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल राइट डाउन द कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ variance of student x स्टुडंटसाठी कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ व्हेरियन्स काय फाइंड आउट केलं आपण 18.53%, and coefficient of variance for students y स्टुडंटसाठी coefficient of variance find out केला 14.25%. So here यामध्ये this is less than y is less than x, so coefficient of variance for students y is less than coefficient of variance for students x. So coefficient of y less आहे आणि जो लेस असतो तो it is more consistent. Then hence marks of students y here less असतो it is more consistent. Y is more consistent than student students x means y is less than coefficient of variance x, जो लेस असतो तो it is more consistent than students x. So y is more consistent. Then we give second example. The two sets of observations are given below. Two सेटच्या ऑब्झर्वेशन्स दिलेले आहेत, सेट 1 and set 2. Set 1 x bar is equal to 82.5 and sigma x is equal to 7.3. And sigma y is equal to 8.35. Then which of the following the two sets is more consistent? त्याने ते directly value दिल्या set 1 and set 2. Then find out which of the two sets is more consistent. So ह्याचा coefficient of variance find out करायचा. ह्याचा coefficient of variance जो less असेल it is more consistent. Then first upon for set 1 set साठी coefficient of variance is equal to this set 1 sigma x standard deviation upon x bar into 100. Means sigma x is the 7.3 upon x bar is the 82.5 into 100 is equal to 7.3 into this is 1.730 82.5 and 730 upon 82.5 is equal to 8.85%. Then find out for set second coefficient of variance is equal to sigma y upon y bar into 100. Means sigma y is 8.35 upon y bar is ते directly value दिलेले आहेत into 100. So 8.35 into 100 is 835 upon 48.7, and what is this dividation is 17.13%. Then and set 1 साठी hence write down coefficient of variance for set 1 साठी coefficient of variance is 8.8% and coefficient of variance for set 2 is 17.30%. Then which is less, 8.85 or 70.30? This value is less since it is more consistent. Set 1 is more, hence coefficient of variance of set 1 is less than coefficient of variance of set 2. Hence set 1 जो less असेल it is more consistent. Set 1 is more consistent than set 2. Okay, set 1 is more consistent because its value is less than set 2. Then give third example. The following data obtained as a result of medical test. मेडिकल टेस्टचा रिझल्ट दिलेला आहे. This is set 1 and this is set 2. This is mean and standard deviation. So here same process. First upon find out first which is more consistent, then find which of the two sets is more consistent. So first upon find out for set 1 coefficient of variance find out करायचा for set 1. Coefficient of variance formula is standard deviation upon mean into 100. For set 1 standard deviation is 6.7 upon mean is 83.4 into 100 means 1.670 upon 83.4 and is equal to 8.03% is the coefficient of variance for set A. Then also find out for set Second, coefficient of variance is equal to standard deviation upon mean into 100. And standard deviation is 7.45 upon 51.85 into 100 is equal to 745.85, and this multiplication is 14.37%. Hence, coefficient of variance here, coefficient of variance of set 1 is equal to set 1 साठी 0.3%, and then coefficient of variance of set 2 second set साठी 14.37%. But here this lower value are this 8.03 or 14.37. This is the less value, hence this is more consistent of set A. Hence, coefficient of variance of set 1 is less than coefficient of variance of set 2. Hence, set 1 जो less असेल which is more consistent. So, set 1 is more consistent than set 2. Then we give next example. From the following data, investigate which set is more consistent. There is set 1 and set 2. X bar and standard deviation. Mean is arithmetic mean is X bar and standard deviation sigma. 83.4, 5.9, 7.45. Then find out first upon this coefficient of variance, and which has coefficient of variance is less, then it is more consistent. Then first upon find out for set 1 coefficient of variance is equal to standard deviation sigma upon x bar into 100. Means sigma is 5.9 for set A upon x bar is 83.4 into 100 is equal to this into 100 100 0 and 1 so 590 upon 83.4 and is equal to 7.07% and coefficient of variance for set A is equal to this, and also find out for set 2 coefficient of variance is sigma upon x bar into 100 means sigma is this 7 point upon x bar is 51.85 into 100. This into 100 is 745 and this multiplication is 14.37%. So here coefficient of variance आपण find out केला for set A set 1 is equal to 7.07% and coefficient of variance of set 2 is equal to 14.37%. Here this is less than this means set 1 is more consistent, hence coefficient of variance of set 1 is less than coefficient of variance of set second. Hence less than value is set 1 ची value less आहे, so it is less coefficient, hence it is more consistent. Hence set 1 is more consistent than set second. Then we give next example. In the two factories A and B engaged in the same industry, the average weekly wages and standard deviation are as follows. So So this is factories A and B. So first upon average wages and this is standard deviation. Five point zero and 4.5. So which factory A or B has greater variability? Greater variability in individual wages. So first upon find out for factory A. फॅक्टरी ए साठी कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ व्हेरियन्स फाइंड आउट करायचा. कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ व्हेरियन्स is equal to standard deviation upon mean into 100 is equal to standard deviation is 5.0 means 5 and mean is 34.5 into 100. 5 into 100 500 upon 34.5 and is equal to 14.49%. Then also find out coefficient of variance for factory B. Coefficient of variance is equal to standard deviation upon mean into 100. In standard deviation is 4.5 upon mean is 28.5 into 100. 4.5 into this is 4.5, this 20, 1 point here. So 450 upon 18.5 and is equal to 15.79%. So coefficient of variance for factory A साठी coefficient of variance 14.49% and coefficient of variance for factory B. But here we find out greater variability. Greater variability means this is greater 15.79 is greater than this, means factory B has greater variability while factory A is more consistent. Hence coefficient of variance for factory B is greater than coefficient of variance for factory A. So coefficient of variance B चा greatest आहे. So it has greater variability. Hence factory B has greater variability. Hence, but which is more consistent? Where factory A is more consistent.